Hey guys, welcome back to Treadmill Review Guru. Today we are going to review the NordicTrack EXP 7i. As you can see, this is a rather compact treadmill, but it does provide really good training options. You have a 3.0 horsepower motor. It has a good sized deck that's 20 inches wide and 60 inches long. It also folds up when you're done, and it does have a nice 7-inch touchscreen that includes iFit free for the first year. So we really like this model because it is compact and folding, but still will provide space for most size users. And it will support up to 300 pounds of max user weight. So it's really a good option on a more compact footprint. I also love that it comes enabled with iFit. That makes it really nice. And it's perfect for walking, jogging, hiking, things like this. We probably don't recommend it for users that may have limited vision. Even though that 7-inch touchscreen is bright, it can be slightly small if you have a hard time seeing the little metrics or hitting the touchscreen buttons. But let's dive in and take a closer look at the overall functionality of the EXP 7i. So let's take a closer look at the overall construction of the EXP 7i. So as I mentioned, it does have a rather compact footprint. This doesn't take up as much room in your home as some of the larger models. The T series line tends to be slightly smaller than the commercial series, but you still get a nice 60-inch long deck, which will support users of most heights. So 60 inches is pretty respectable. And then 20 inches wide is pretty good for most people as well. You also have lots of room up here. When you're finished, you can just lift it up, fold it, and it will lock into place, which saves space as well. So your total footprint, it's 77 inches long, it's 35 inches wide, and about 60 inches to the top of that console. It inclines to a 12% grade, so you do have incline on the deck. The console just stays fixed right there, and it goes up to 12 miles an hour. So you do have lots of good training options on this. I do like the way that the belt feels, so it doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel like it's floppy or anything as you're running on it or walking or whatever, so that's really nice. It also has a low step-up height. It's only 8 inches, which makes it really easy to get on and off. When the deck is fully inclined to that 12% grade, it raises to about 13 inches off the floor. So you do have to accommodate for that with headspace and make sure you've got enough clearance overhead. But 13 inches really isn't too bad. And it does have lots of variables in between. So, you can set it at any one of those incline levels, adjust your speed, and you have lots of good training options on this. The folding mechanism does have a hydraulic assist. So right down here, you just reach underneath. There is a steel grab bar. Just lock it into place like that when you're done, and it will lock and should not come undone very easily. To release, just hold on to that bar, press your foot against the foot release, and it will drop on its own. So you can just kind of stand back and let it drop down. You don't have to hold it, you don't have to bend over, and it won't hurt your floor. So you can see it's really pretty soft. For assembly on the EXP 7i, we always recommend having 2 people. It's not overly difficult, but you do have to attach the console to the uprights and then make sure everything is firmly tightened. So it's best if you have one person to hold things while the other person tightens it. Also, budget just maybe a couple hours. It's not too bad, as I mentioned. The most difficult thing is just to make sure that you get everything secure and don't pinch any wires. Also, we always recommend assembling your treadmill in whatever room you plan to use it. Some of these treadmills, even though they're slightly more compact, won't fit through a standard doorway once they're assembled. Also, if you plan to use it on an upper floor, it's easier to move the box up there and set your treadmill up than try to move the assembled treadmill up. So the EXP 7i comes with a 10-year warranty on the frame. You also get 2 years for parts and 1 year for labor. Okay, let's take a closer look at the console. As you can see, it does have that touchscreen right there, and I'm just gonna start this program again just so you kind of have an idea of what the touchscreen looks like. So we can clear everything off and just kind of, so there, that gives you an idea. So this is what the touchscreen looks like. And even though it is a little bit small, you have really crisp graphics. So I feel like the color is bright. It's easy to see both the trainer and the landscape, which is nice. And it does have updated music. So the music content has been improved, and with each song, it'll show up there in the corner and then disappear just a few seconds in. Over here, you have your buttons for your incline. So you can see it goes up from 0 to 12. So 0 being your flat grade, and then all the way up. And then on the right, you have a button for each speed. And that button will take you a full metric. So if I hit 3, it's gonna automatically take me to 3 miles an hour. Now, if I hit 3 twice in a row, it'll take me to 3.3 miles an hour. If I hit 5 and then 6, it'll take me to 5.6 miles an hour. So you can, using these buttons, get a very customized speed setting. Also down here on the lower panel, you have manual incline buttons. So let's say I incline this to 2, and I'm gonna pull that down so you can kind of see where our incline is. But right here, I'm gonna incline it to 2, and then using the manual button, you can add 0.5. So it'll go 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, etc. With the speed, you also have your speed manual buttons down here, and they will increase you by a tenth. So 3.1, 3.2, 3.3, so you can really get that targeted, very specific speed that you want with those micro adjustments down there on that manual display panel. So you can see right here it says turn on. If I want to enable that automation so that the speed of the incline of the belt will match the program, then I can do that, which is a nice feature. You can run hands-free. And the 7-inch touchscreen does pivot. So you can adjust the screen just a little bit. If you have shorter users, you can see, or you can reduce that overhead glare, that sort of thing. The EXP7i does have Bluetooth, so you can sync your personal music on your phone with the machine and play your music through the speakers if you would like to. It also is heart rate compatible, so it will sync with a chest strap. However, there are no heart rate sensors on the machine itself. They tend to be inaccurate. People hold and then they let go, and then they hold and then they let go. So having a chest strap is much more consistent and a better way to get accurate metrics for your overall training. You do have a fan. Right down here below that bottom panel, you have a fan with 4 speed settings. So you have low, medium, high, and then auto, which is gonna match kind of your exertion level. And then you can turn that off. And you also have volume controls. So if I want to hear the trainer, I can turn the trainer all the way up.
That word was used to describe.
And he's just kind of telling us about local history and geography, things like that. So let's say I want just a little bit of music and mostly trainer, then that master volume will adjust it at that set balance. So I can turn it up and still have more trainer or less music, etc. So that's your volume controls right there. And the updated iFit will connect to an audio device. So you can use your wireless headphones. If I want to connect, I just hit this button, which also appears when you're first starting your machine, and it will bring up Bluetooth devices that are within range. When you see your device, you can easily connect it. You can see you've got 2 pockets here on the sides, and they're nice and wide. They'll hold a phone, a water bottle is really easy. And one thing that I really do like about the EXP7i is it has this storage tray that expands between the uprights just below the console. And it does 2 things. 1, it provides a place to store stuff that's within easy reach. And 2, there's a metal beam that goes underneath it, which just adds stability to the console so it doesn't wiggle. I do have an iPad that I want to just kind of show you. So because the screen is elevated on this console, you could put a tablet here. And you have a nice wide tablet shelf that will easily support a tablet. I can even put it upright. It might block the bottom of the screen just a touch, but it's not going to affect the overall functionality. So if you opt not to use iFit, you just put it in a manual mode and let it run. You can also turn on, your program, whatever you'd like to watch, and you have that option as well. You can see your speakers kind of run under the bottom of the console, and your safety key is of course right here directly in front of you. As soon as you remove that key, the belt will instantly stop for your safety. So let's take a closer look at the functionality of the EXP7i. As you can see, I have it running in the background, and it really is pretty quiet. So if there's nobody on it, the motor itself really doesn't make much noise at all. It does have the automated incline and speed. So when you're running an iFit program, or if you bring up one of the preloaded programs that already is pre-mapped for you, the treadmill will adjust both speed and incline depending on the program that you're using. So once you've selected your program, you can use that automation, which I really like because it makes it so that you can run hands-free, or you can override it at any point. So if you don't want to match the pace, maybe it's too fast, you can always just adjust the speed. It will hold that speed until you say follow automation or turn on tracking or whatever, and then it will readjust to the automated. So right here I'm at a nice easy walking pace. I'm going to maintain that flat grade and pick it up to about 3 miles an hour. So you can just kind of listen to the belt noise, watch the cushioning in that deck as I walk along. All right, I'm going to hold that pace and increase to a 3% grade. So you can see the incline is really smooth and it doesn't make a lot of noise. I don't have to hold on. So that's your 3% incline. I'm going to hold this walking pace and kick it all the way up to the maximum incline of 12. So we're getting close to that max incline. You can see it takes just a minute to get there, but it's very smooth and steady. And suddenly that 3 mile an hour pace becomes really quite challenging. I'm going to turn it down just a little so I can talk. But one thing I do really like about the T-Series treadmills is they provide an affordable option for people who want to walk, hike, jog. I'm following a walking trail through Switzerland in an iFit program, so I don't ever have to run, but I can really kick up my heart rate. You can tell I'm even just a little bit out of breath, just walking here at this 12% incline. So I'm going to drop it down about halfway. We'll go down to a level 6. All right, and I'm going to run at about 6 miles an hour, which is just kind of a typical running pace. And once again, you can listen for noise and watch that deck. So you have a little bit of foot noise. It's not terrible, but the motor's really quiet. And you do have a little bit of cushioning. You can see that deck kind of absorb. All right, so one thing we've tried to do in our newer videos is have more than one user on the machine, just so you can kind of compare how it sounds and looks for different size users. So Matthew's about 6'5" and 220 pounds. So you can see that he has really good length on that deck, like he's not running out of foot room as he walks. And it does provide just a bit of cushioning. The EXP7i will support up to 300 pounds, but it only weighs about 220 pounds. So that's a pretty good ratio. So right now Matthew is at the full incline. I've got him all the way up to a 12% grade, and he's walking at 3 miles an hour. So I'll just kind of let you listen to that foot noise and motor noise. It's really not bad. And the Flex Select cushioning, it isn't quite as abundant as you'll find on the commercial line, and certainly not like on the incline trainers, but it is nice. And it's certainly better than walking outside, and I even think it's a step up from most other treadmills. NordicTrack typically has the most impressive cushioning. All right, Matthew, why don't we have you drop it down to about a level 6. And you can see he's got good stability. He doesn't have to hold on while that incline adjusts. And then once we get to level 6, we'll run at about 6 miles an hour, just like I did, so you can kind of compare the difference. All right, you want to run at 6? So you can see how that deck just gives a little bit. It just kind of absorbs that impact underneath your foot, which is really nice. He also has plenty of room. So even for taller users, that 60 inches of length is really a nice feature. And I wouldn't say you feel constricted. Do you feel constricted on that? No. So we got good space. And 6 miles an hour is a pretty standard pace. So that kind of gives you an idea of how that sounds. Do you want to drop it down to 0% grade and just keep running? Nice. Okay, so we're going to drop it back down to a flat road and pick up that pace just a little bit. Do you want to just go a little faster? Maybe 8? All right, so this is 8 miles an hour. So as you can see, the EXP7i supports users of different sizes. I'm about 5'5" and weigh about 125 pounds. Matthew, as I mentioned, is about 6'5" and weighs 220 pounds. So it just kind of gives you a different idea. It really is impressively supportive for users of all different weights. As I mentioned, it will support up to 300 pounds. And one thing we wanted to do is put a tablet on the console. You do have a nice kind of ledge right there. You could put a tablet or a book. And I wanted to see if while we were running it kind of jarred, moved off, shifted a little. I do have a cover on it that has just a little bit of texture to it. But the tablet fits right there. It doesn't get in the way of your screen and it won't bounce off while you're on the machine. So also a nice feature. So in conclusion, there's a lot that we appreciate about the EXP7i. A few things that I really like about this machine. One, it's well priced. So it's going to be an option for people in various budgets, which makes it nice. Two, it's compact. So if you're in a smaller place, you still have the option of getting a really good treadmill that will fold up when it's not in use. It also offers just a little bit of cushioning. So it will reduce the impact on your joints compared to walking outside. It also adds that convenience factor of being able to exercise at home. I love the fact that it does include iFit free for the first year. I'm impressed every time I log in. There's more content, there's more features, there's more filters available. So I'm really impressed with iFit. It provides really good training, both on the treadmill and off. And it's easy to use. So that's the other thing I like about this treadmill. You can just hop on, you can go, the console is very simple. One thing to be aware of, it's not really a negative, but the screen is rather small and it's placed higher on the console. So it is possible that maybe users of, if you're a petite user or whatever, it could be a little bit more challenging to see that console. And also the touchscreen buttons, because it's a touchscreen, they can be a little small as well. But really, that's just kind of a very small thing to be concerned about because the overall functionality is really appreciable. We really like using this machine, and I love the fact that it's quiet and compact. So if you'd like to read the full written review, check us out at treadmillreviewguru.com. For current pricing, click the link below. And as always, if you liked our video, make sure to subscribe and give us a thumbs up. We'll see you again soon.